Hi, fifth graders, and welcome to lesson 7-9 and 710. We're going to combine these today. We're subtracting mixed numbers. The first lesson is using models to subtract, and the second is just subtracting using what we already know about subtracting mixed numbers. So starting off with the models, what I'd like to do is start with solve and share on page 301. Clara and Aaron volunteered at an animal shelter a total of 9 5/6 hours. Clara worked for 4 1/3 hours. How many hours did Aaron work? You can use fraction strips or models to solve your problem. So they worked for a total of 9 5/6 hours. Clara worked 4 1/3 of those. So that tells me to find how many Aaron worked, I'm going to need to subtract because this is the total, this is Clara. So we're going to, as they've asked us to use models, we yesterday in addition did not use models, and I think you're ready to skip that and try using the same strategy we used yesterday with addition. The only difference between the subtraction and addition is, of course, you're not going to add your numerators, you'll subtract. Okay, just like you would in a regular addition problem. So if we start with 9 5/6, then we're taking away 4 1/3. We need to have a common denominator. I notice that 6 is a multiple of 3, so I'm going to choose 6 as my common denominator. So my first mixed number doesn't change at all. The fraction stays the same. The 4 1/3, we need to change our fraction to have a common denominator with the 6. I know that 3 times 2 is 6, so 1 times 2 is 2. So I'm going to change that to the equivalent fraction of 2 6. 1/3 is equivalent to 2 6. Now I can subtract because I can take 2 away from 5, and I get 3, and the denominator stays the same. 9 take away 4 is 5. So we're left with 5 3/6 hours that Aaron worked. We can check ourselves always when we've subtracted by adding. If we take the 4 2 6 that we took away and add it to our answer of the subtraction, we should get what we started with. 2 6 plus 3 6 is 5 6 because 2 plus 3 is 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. And we did start with 9 5/6. So again, the key is to find the common denominator. Look and see if one is a multiple of the other. If not, then oftentimes you'll have to multiply them together to get that common denominator. You are welcome to use model in this one when we started with 1/3 of an hour and we were comparing to 5/6. 1 2 3 4 5. So all these would be shaded into 5 6. We were talking about taking away 1/3. We do notice that we can change the thirds into 6s, and that'd be taking 2 away, and that's what we did. So when they say to use fraction strips, this is what you can do. Since you don't have those tools, you can draw the picture or the model. All right, this 302 went along with your visual learning video. You have evens to do on 8 through 15 after we go ahead and, 6 through 15. But let's go ahead and do some practice up here. All right, let's start with number 1. When subtracting two mixed numbers, is it always necessary to rename one of the wholes? Not always. Sometimes we may have to, and that is when we need to regroup and make a larger fraction. For example, if we don't have enough, we're taking away a larger fraction than we started with, as in number 3. Let's look at that one. 4 1/8, take away 3 3/4. we need a common denominator before we can subtract. That would be 8. 8 is a multiple of 4. So 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. So that becomes 3 6/8. And we've got 1/8 to start with. Can we take 6 away from 1? No. So what we need to do is we need to break apart one of our wholes. That's what they mean by renaming it. That becomes 3 plus 8/8. 8/8 is the whole that we're taking away from the whole number. If we add 8/8 to our 1/8, we now have 9/8. 1/8 plus 8/8 is 9/8. Now we can take 6/8 away from 9/8. 9 take away 6 is 3. So we'd have 3/8. 3 take away 3. The whole numbers are gone now. So our answer here is just 3/8. Number 2, 4 and 5/6. Take away 2 and 1/3. 6 is a multiple of 3. So we're going to need to change this one to 6. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. So we can take 2/6 away from 5/6. We would get 3/6. And 4 take away 2 is 2. We did not need to rename this whole because we had a larger fraction on top. When we're taking away a larger fraction from the smaller fraction, we need to rename or borrow from the whole number to make the fraction larger. Okay, again, you'll do the evens only, including 20 and 21. Just to have another example here, 7-10. Evan walks 2 1/8 miles to his aunt's house. He has already walked 3/4 of a mile. How much farther does he have to go? So he's 2 1/8. We can take away the 3/4 he's already walked to find out x, to find out how much further he needs to go. We need a common denominator. I see 8's a multiple of 4. So 2 1/8 can stay the same, but our 3/4 we need to rename as 8ths. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. We're ready to subtract. Can we take 6 away from 1? No, we cannot. So we need to rename our whole. Our whole number 2 becomes 1 plus 8/8. Because 1 plus 1 is 2. Now the 8/8 plus the 1/8 we already have is 9/8. So now we are subtracting 6/8 from 9/8. 9 take away 6 is 3. And 1 take away nothing is 1. So Evan still has to walk 1 3/8 mile if he's walked 3/4. So this just shows a couple of things. We need common denominator to subtract, and we needed to rename our whole number because we didn't have a large enough fraction. The fraction we were taking away was larger than the one that we started with. And just like in regrouping with whole numbers, if you don't have enough in that place value to borrow or to subtract, you've got to go next door and regroup.